Take me away from home. Show me all the places I've never known. And we'll chase the night, race all of these broken dreams in flight. And we'll fly. me by frozen memories, lost in time. We'll fly away, away, away. Yeah, we'll fly. I will fly.
And welcome everyone to the show. Welcome to another edition of DylanLasagna Lives. Welcome. Sorry. We had to start a little bit late, but let me just get something real quick. Alright, there we go. Alright. How's everyone doing? It's Friday. It's another Friday. How is everyone going? Noob, welcome back. It's been a while, man. Where have you been? Where's everyone? Where the heck have you been? But anyway, sorry we had to start like a little late. I had to do some last minute a little last minute planning for the show. I had a busy day today. Even though we're in quarantine still. And right as the stream started, I noticed we were dropping frames, like it was AIDS. Like it was pretty bad. So yeah, I had to make a bit of adjustments. So yeah, that's something I had to do prior to where we're at now. But it's good that I'm here. My chat is here. I see Pokemon Gamer and Noob are here as usual. So thank you all for joining me on another edition of DylanLasagna Live, episode number 56. And it's Friday, May 8th. May the 8th be with you. And make sure you follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, where if you like. And then as always, if you're not already, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. So we got a little bit to talk about here on today's podcast. Obviously with Miss Rona running wild on the world. There honestly, like slowly but surely, there hasn't been much to talk about here in the channel, but we've gotten some things. We've gotten some ground to cover here on the podcast. But before we get into that, I do want to get into a couple of things here. In case you missed last week's podcast, I know a couple of you in the chat did, but I did announce that there were going to be some big things planned for next week. If you missed my community post from Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was Wednesday. Oh yeah, here it is. There we go. And then pull up this window. So, in case you missed it, I will be doing a couple of things next week. So the first thing is next week there's not going to be a regular Friday show. There's not going to be a regular Friday show, but the podcast is going to be moved to next Saturday instead. It's going to be moved to next Saturday to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the DylanLasagna Live podcast. So what we're going to do for this show is obviously celebrate the 1-year anniversary, talk about my show's best, worst episodes, topics, takes, and just overall memories from the past year. So as it says in over here, like, I'm going to be taking in, like, your guys' best and worst of everything that's on there already. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't believe it's already been 1 year since the podcast started. I remember, it's like, I'm going to say it again next week, but I'm going to say it here. I can't believe I started out from just using the Google Hangouts on my MacBook, and now we're here 1 year later. It's crazy. It's freaking crazy. And for the other thing, we're already at this point already. We're gonna do something kind of cool. Next Friday. So again, as I mentioned, no podcast next Friday, but in place of that, because we're doing the podcast next Saturday, we're gonna be doing something a little different. That weekend, I was supposed to graduate from college. I was supposed to walk the stage, get my diploma. My diploma doesn't come until like a month after. So that's not happening anymore because of the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. My graduation is pretty much canceled at this point. And even if it was postponed to a different date, I most likely wouldn't be able to attend because either A, I have other commitments, or B, I already have a job. So instead, next Friday, even though my actual walking date is on the next day, but again, we reserved that for the podcast anniversary live stream. We are instead going to be doing my first ever speed run of a video game. Like, in case you don't know what speed running is, it's just playing a video game and beating it as fast as possible. That's pretty much what speed running is. So as you can see, I'm gonna be speed running GTA San Andreas. Like, oh no, not San Andreas again. But I know some of you came to the channel, subscribed to the channel for San Andreas. Some of you, like my longtime viewers, don't like me playing San Andreas, but I practiced it a bit, and I feel like this is the first. This is a good starting point for me to get into speedrunning, even if I'm just doing it casually. I won't consider myself a full-time speedrunner because, like, obviously I don't have the time for it. But I want to try something new. I want to try something new. Try like something I've kind of been interested in. I will give my props to Hugo1. He's a GTA speedrunner who kind of inspired me to like try this out. I've seen his like San Andreas speedruns, and it's pretty. He does some pretty cool stuff. But like over the past couple of days, I've been trying to figure out like not just the speed, like the routes itself and all that, but how exactly to approach it. Because if you recall my GTA San Andreas playthroughs, like for the first 2 months of 2020, I struggled big time with those. Like, even like it took us about 12-14 streams to finally get to 100%. That's because I normally don't play San Andreas. I can't pull it out, but I normally don't play San Andreas with a keyboard and a mouse. So I'm not a keyboard and mouse gamer. So I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to figure out how to play the game with. I'm trying to figure out how to play the game with a controller on PC. Yeah, like that. Like that's gonna happen. A controller on PC. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work. I did buy this thing from 8-Bit Dough. It's like supposed to be like a Bluetooth adapter for your Switch controller because my PC doesn't have like onboard Bluetooth, but I can't figure out how to get it to work. I did consider like getting the Steam version of San Andreas, but I heard there's like you have to downgrade it, and I kind of don't like to mod. I'm not too certain of modding my games. I don't know. I just don't know. It's like right now, like the GTA San Andreas that you saw me play was the retail version, and just trying to like install like the windowed mode thing worked fine the first time, but then the second time I tried to play it crashed. The game crashed and won't even start up. So if you guys have any solutions on how to get like a controller up and running, like please let me know in the comments below. Help a brother out. I tried things like an Xbox controller, like both first and third party Xbox controllers, and I'm still trying to figure out this thing right here, and nothing's working. I really don't want to use mouse and keyboard for a speed run, especially for a speed run, because if you all recall, last time I did GTA San Andreas, one of those streams, I accidentally activated a cheat code because you can press the movement keys. I think it's WSAD on the keyboard so many times that it would accidentally like glitch a cheat. And if you cheat in a speed run, then it's rendered invalid. So I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to use a mouse and keyboard for a speed run, and like I don't know. But I will say there are certain things that I should use during this, like a San Andreas speedrun, like sniping and like photographing and all that stuff. But for the most part, I don't want to like go through that experience again. It was like hell or high water with doing San Andreas on a mouse and keyboard. I don't know how people can do it, but let me know if you're watching this on demand or like in the chat right now, like what recommendations you would have me like get for a PC controller, to get like to help me get up and running with the San Andreas on PC. I have like it's San Andreas, the retail version. It's this version. It's the trilogy like PC version back from like 2005. I got this back in like 2010, but yeah, it's pretty old, but it's still running. Like that's the sole purpose why I got a disk drive for my PC, so I could play San Andreas, because it still works, and I want to take full advantage of it. But apparently, the controller options are still very limited. But enough rambling about that. I guess that is your weekly random tidbit of the week. And with that being said, enough of my ramble. Just let me know in the comments below what you all think I should do about the controller situation. Now let me see what we got on the docket for today. We have to talk about Money in the Bank. That's this Sunday on the WWE Network. We also have to talk about. Okay, we also have to talk about Roman Reigns. Oh yeah, wait, Roman who? And pretty much it's gonna be all wrestling today. Like it's gonna be like all wrestling topics today. So let's get started, shall we? Let's get started. So let's first talk about Money in the Bank, because I just want to get this out of the way, because there's honestly nothing that I'm personally looking forward to other than the Money in the Bank ladder match. Because let's be real, the corporate headquarters for Money in the Bank, at least for the ladder match, I think it presents some appeal. Like the briefcases are on the roof, and then you start on the ground floor and work your way up. It's kind of like it's kind of like that Super Bowl commercial that WWE did back in 1999, or was it 2000? I think it was 1999, where they were brawling, like they were brawling and all that, and in the arena and in the corporate headquarters. I think it presents some appeal. Now, clearly, there were reports that they pre-taped this a couple weeks ago, but I'm going into this like they're doing this live. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting thing that they're like, despite the COVID thing, like there's some things that they hit on, like the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse. Other things like the in-ring quality, not so much. But I do believe that I do believe the Money in the Bank ladder match could be an exciting exciting match. And the fact that both the men's and the women's matches are going to happen at the same time, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be really good. So, who are your participants in this ladder match? Who are your participants in this ladder match? We've got, on the women's side, Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Carmella. Now, I can tell you on this field that I only seem to believe that Shayna Baszler, despite losing to Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, I think she has the only realistic chance of winning this match. Like, just looking at it, like, sure, she lost to Becky Lynch, but it was on a fluky pin. So, over the last couple of weeks, before she ran into Nia Jax, she was on a rampage. She was breaking people's arms. She broke a local talent's arm with that foot stomp, with the arm placed like this, and then she bent it like that, and then she like crushed a woman's arm on when it was stuck in between a ladder, and she was pissed that she lost to Becky Lynch in the way that she did. And I only see a good reason for Shayna Baszler to win. She has the briefcase. She can lurk around, like, and stalk Becky Lynch until the time is right for her to cash in. Or, if they want to throw a curveball, that's if the Money in the Bank briefcase allows for cross-brand championship match. Maybe she can go after Sasha Banks or Bayley, like whoever has the Smackdown Women's Championship. We'll see. You could have Nia Jax as a runner-up, but considering that she just came back and she's like not that great in the ring, like she's still kind of iffy in the ring, I would make it. I would be 50-50 on Nia Jax, but I would consider her a runner-up. Everyone else in this field, not so much. Asuka has already lost 3 times to Becky Lynch, and she lost the tag team championships to Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, and Kairi Sane has been MIA for at least 3 weeks now. And then Dana Brooke hasn't done anything for the last couple weeks as well. Lacey Evans, she's lost multiple title opportunities to Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title. Carmella, I guess Carmella's there because she, like, for veteran experience. So that's fine, but she's pretty much like half of the field. It's like she hasn't done anything to make her feel like she should belong in the Money in the Bank ladder match, other than presenting veteran experience. Like, So I'd see Shayna Baszler winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. As for the men's side, on the other hand, it presents an interesting field, a more interesting field. I think there could be multiple winners here. You've got Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, Baron Corbin, Otis, and AJ Styles. 2 of those 6 guys have won the Money in the Bank ladder match in the past, and of course, only one has successfully cashed in. That one is Daniel Bryan. So Daniel Bryan has, in my opinion, the better experience in these ladder matches and what exactly to do with the briefcase than Baron Corbin. King Corbin. I'm not really gonna call him a king, but regardless, they still got experience being in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and actually winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. Rey Mysterio was also in the Money in the Bank ladder match, but he never won one. This is Aleister Black's also his first Money in the Bank ladder match. Otis as well. AJ Styles, I can't recall if he was ever in one, but considering AJ Styles like history, he can always deliver in a ladder match. As for a compelling case, I could see if they want to ever like reignite a push in Aleister Black, maybe like have like a Shayna Baszler case, like maybe like tease cash-ins multiple weeks. Aleister Black could present like a compelling case, especially with a character of his. But there's also the wild card in Otis. He's been red hot for the past several months, and that was exemplified with the win against Dolph Ziggler and getting Mandy Rose at WrestleMania. But you also have to consider that because Dolph Ziggler didn't get in to the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. Oh no, not WrestleMania. In the Money in the Bank ladder match at the pay-per-view, there's a good chance that he could cost Otis the match, and the briefcase. So I rank it this way. I think Aleister Black like has the best chance to win it. If they want to reignite a push for him and give him a little more character depth. Otis has the second best, but you also have to consider Dolph Ziggler costing him the match. And then everyone else, you could make another compelling case. Maybe AJ Styles, but I feel like it would be too soon for him. Because, he was just buried alive by The Undertaker a month ago. And I don't know. Like, everyone else, like, not so much. Like, you could give it to Daniel Bryan, but I'm not sure what he can do with it. Maybe Rey Mysterio, but it would add something to his accolades. But do we really need to see Baron Corbin again with the briefcase? Like, he already failed once. Why does he need to do it again? But anyway, I think Aleister Black has the more compelling case to win Money in the Bank this year, and I think he's gonna win it. Oh, thank you for fact checking me, Pokemon Gamer. AJ Styles was in the 2017 one. Okay, so AJ Styles was in one, but I still think that he's not gonna win it on Sunday, given that he just came back. So that is your men's and women's Money in the Bank field. They're gonna happen at the same time. I wonder if, since they're fighting at the same time, the men and the women may end up fighting each other, like an intergender scenario. It's like they bump into each other, and then let's say Shayna Baszler and Aleister Black bump into each other, and then they start fighting each other for no good reason, just because oh, you bumped into me, I was like, I'm gonna punch you in the face. That would be interesting if they do something like that, but I don't want to get into smark territory and try to predict that. But it would be an interesting thought. It would be an interesting thought. So that's your Money in the Bank ladder matches. I do like the concept of this for this year. Now I get that the whole pandemic has definitely sucked the life out of these shows, like especially with the empty performance center. But I do like some of these like concepts that they're taking with like the matches, like the Money in the Bank ladder match, having it on the corporate headquarters. I hope they execute that very well. They did it with the Boneyard match. They did it with the Firefly Funhouse, like cinematic. I don't really call it a match, like a cinematic. So I think they could make it work with the Money in the Bank ladder match as well. So we'll find out on Sunday. We'll find out on Sunday if this will be a treat or it'll be a disaster. But that's your Money in the Bank ladder matches. Next up, you got Universal Champion Braun Strowman going up against Bray Wyatt. Now, keep in mind, this is not the Fiend. This is not the Fiend Bray Wyatt going up against. This is not the Fiend Bray Wyatt going up against Braun Strowman. This is Firefly Funhouse Bray. So Mr. Rogers, pretty much Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt. Now, keep in mind, I haven't really kept up with SmackDown ever since like the last 2 weeks following WrestleMania, but I have a good mind of what's going on, and I kind of like what direction they're going in with this feud. Initially I thought this was going to be another scenario with like how they did with Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins back in September, where they inserted a very popular, very red hot Fiend Bray Wyatt into the title picture against Seth Rollins at a very wrong time. Here, it's still not a right time for Bray Wyatt to be in the picture, but at least they're starting out with the first title match between the two being Braun Strowman versus Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt. And you also have to think that who else is going to challenge Strowman for the Universal title? Who else is going to try to take that away from him? Roman who? Is not there. The last couple of developments that I last saw I thought they were interesting. I thought they were pretty interesting. Like on the post WrestleMania edition of Smackdown, Wyatt challenged Strowman for the Universal title, and he brought up the Wyatt family history. They also showed the vignettes of Strowman being the black sheep, and Bray mentioning that he brought him into this world and he can easily take him out of it, which is true. And then the following week on the Moment of Bliss, he got a gift from Bray, which was the black sheep mask, and Strowman was just looking at it and it's like, what? So, and then I think 2 weeks ago there was a story time with Bray, but like, and then the cover had a black sheep mask on it as well. But that's pretty much like where I'm at with the storyline. But I know like everyone's saying it's a lose-lose situation, like with Seth versus the Fiend. I don't, in my opinion, I don't really think it's that much. I don't think it's really that much in my opinion, because if we remember last time Bray fought as Mr. Rogers, it's like he looked very weak, and then it's like he did have that brief like spurt like against the Miz. Like it only took until the Fiend interfered for Bray Wyatt to beat the Miz, or was it the Miz beat the Fiend, or the Miz beat Mr. Rogers Bray? I can't remember. And then the Fiend attacked him afterwards. Let me see that. Let me fact check myself a bit. 2019. Oh no, Bray Wyatt did defeat the Miz. So yeah, he was just like beating around the. He was just Mr. Rogers. Bray Wyatt was getting his ass whooped. He was just getting his ass whooped by the Miz. So, sorry, I got a random ass message, but anyway, I think Strowman either will win this match, and then Bray Wyatt will have an excuse that, oh, you didn't face the Fiend and all that, or like Mr. Rogers Bray is gonna lose like via DQ, or Strowman's gonna like it's gonna have a false finish somewhere. It's gonna have a false finish, then it's gonna lead to a rematch with the Fiend, and then that's when people can start getting concerned. That's when people can start getting worried, because it's like if the Fiend loses, then it's all over, and if Strowman loses, then it's all over for him. But until then, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if Mr. Rogers Bray can actually have a chance against Braun Strowman this Sunday. My bet is not so much, but I'm looking for a false finish. Besides, this feud is most likely to go on longer anyway, because a certain someone that was supposed to get the Universal title at WrestleMania, he ain't there. And who else is supposed to challenge Braun Strowman right now for the Universal title that's not named Bray Wyatt or the other person? There's nobody. There's nobody like credible. But yeah, that's the Universal title match. Then we got the SmackDown Women's Championship in Tamina and the champion Bayley. I think this is just a match to cause more dissension between the role models in Sasha Banks and Bayley, because I don't know. I don't know how or why. Like, it maybe it's just the situation. Tamina's getting a title shot in 2020, but you know she's been there for like quite a long time, and I really don't have much to say on this match other than there's nothing in this women's division. I'm sorry. It's like all I can say about this match is this is just another match to slow burn the inevitable breakup between Sasha Banks and Bayley. They're still gonna build this way up to SummerSlam, and this match is just like another way to set that up. No disrespect to Tamina, but it's like she's been gone for like the past two years without doing anything like significant, and she's getting title matches, and like I don't know, I don't see like how she can get the win here. So I think Bayley's gonna win, and then I don't think anybody else is gonna challenge Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title, and then they're just gonna continue to slow burn the build for Sasha versus Bayley at SummerSlam. That's all I can see at this point. Then we got then we got the WWE Championship match, Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. I've been kind of liking the direction that Seth Rollins has been taking with his Monday Night Messiah character. When he was with AOP and Buddy Murphy, now granted he still has Buddy Murphy, but lately he's been evolving his character a bit. That's of course what you want in professional wrestling characters. Not work rate spot fest or like 30-minute long spot orgies, or like characterless wrestlers. But I really like what Seth Rollins is doing with this gimmick here. He's like, even though he lost at WrestleMania, granted, Kevin Owens should have been the one to get that title shot first, but he obviously does. He obviously chose. He didn't want to travel to the Performance Center, which I completely respect. But Seth Rollins was the next available guy. And he took the opportunity to evolve the Monday Night Messiah. He took the loss personally. He wanted to crucify himself and then like make him his Messiah gimmick reborn. And he started getting angrier and angrier. he's over the past couple of weeks, and he's the reason why he's facing Drew McIntyre, and he wants to take away the WWE Championship is so he doesn't get the burden that he got from winning the Universal Championship or a world title and the backlash that came along with it. So interesting stuff there. And Drew McIntyre, even though there's no crowd, I feel like he's been great, and both on the mic, in the ring. Nothing else more to say. But it's a little odd that a vocal minority is already starting to turn on him, but it's like there's no crowd. Like, why? It's like you're not giving him a chance. But I could see it's like I could see that McIntyre is going to retain at Money in the Bank. But whether or not they choose to like continue the feud to at least one more pay-per-view, if there's a June pay-per-view, remains to be seen. Maybe this is a one-off, and then they just stretch out a challenger, like another feud for McIntyre over SummerSlam or something. We'll see, because I don't know what WWE's plan after Money in the Bank. Are they gonna do another June pay-per-view? Are they gonna do Extreme Rules at the Performance Center? We're gonna talk more about SummerSlam because there was some news about that from WrestleVotes, but we'll see if Rollins gets another shot if he loses to McIntyre, which I am most likely thinking. So as much as Seth Rollins has evolved his like Messiah gimmick over the past couple of weeks, I don't think it'll get the job done at Money in the Bank. Next up is our last match on the card, and I think for good reason because of the COVID situation. There's only like how many matches we got on here? One, two, like the two Money in the Bank ladder matches, even though it's just one technically because they're taking place at the same time. Then you got the Universal title match. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got five Money in the Bank pay-per-view matches. That's wow. Maybe I think they're gonna add some like as I'm like streaming right now, and they're probably gonna add some again on Sunday. So then you got on the final match on my sheet here, the tag team championships on Smackdown are going to be defended in the New Day, Miz and Morrison, the Forgotten Sons, and Lucha House Party. Now you're wondering, why are the Lucha House Party getting a title shot when the Usos aren't? Well, before you go off raging and getting pissed about the Lucha House Party getting a title shot over the Usos, it's because one of the Usos, Jimmy Uso, is injured, and he's not expected to be back in like 6 to 9 months with a knee injury. So before you get all pissy, just remember that Jimmy Uso is injured. And the Usos are probably not going to be back on TV for like that period of time. So I don't have too many like things to say about this match. Like maybe like the Forgotten Sons will win the tag team titles, or the New Day will win. I don't know. It's like the tag team division is in such a state of flux that I really don't have much to say about it. But let's just go with the New Day. They always seem to find a way to win. But that's your Money in the Bank preview. Those are my Money in the Bank predictions. I'm predicting Aleister Black will win the men's side. Shayna Baszler for the women's. The Universal Championship, I was kind of like pick 'em, toss 'em on, but I think it's gonna end in a DQ. Yeah, people are gonna go, oh no, not a DQ on a pay-per-view. But I think that Bray Wyatt's the only guy that can challenge Braun Strowman on SmackDown right now. Like, literally, who else do they have on SmackDown that has a serious claim to challenge Braun Strowman? Roman Reigns. Oh, wait. Roman who? Roman who? Like, the guy is not there, and rightfully so, because he chose to opt out for like a very good reason, to take care of his family, and to take care of his health. And the last champion, not Goldberg. Well, yeah, he's not there anymore. You don't have Brock Lesnar because Vince obviously blamed Brock Lesnar's lack of presence for the failing ratings. Then you also have Kofi Kingston, who is the tag team champion and never got his WWE title rematch. But ever since then, he's been with the New Day. But yeah, there isn't really much challengers right now for Braun Strowman deserving of a WWE title match. Maybe Otis, but he still has a lot to do to finish the feud with Dolph Ziggler. Maybe one last one-off. I don't know. There's not a lot of challengers after Bray Wyatt for Braun Strowman. Not even for Bray Wyatt. If he wins back the Universal title. So yeah, I think it's going to end in a DQ. They're going to extend it for one more month, and who knows what they'll go from there. Bayley's going to win the retainer SmackDown Women's title. Drew McIntyre's going to retain the WWE title, and I could care. I don't know what they're going to do with the SmackDown tag team titles. They flip flop every single time. So either way, New Day's going to retain anyway. So there was a little bit of breaking news on Twitter. Not really breaking because it's not really confirmed yet. It was from WrestleVotes. He's had like a reliable credibility, tweeting out news. He has a lot of good inside sources within the WWE. But he reported 5 hours ago the following. SummerSlam in Boston is looking to be on thin ice now after comments today from the mayor. I have a message I messaged out to a few sources for answers. I would lean on the event getting a new location, however. Let's see what the mayor of Boston said. The Boston mayor. Marty Walsh. Mr. Marty Walsh. All large events in Boston canceled, Marty Walsh says. All large summer gatherings such as parades, festivities, and road races will be canceled this year due to health concerns surrounding the coronavirus. Walsh said the widespread cancellation will continue up to Labor Day. Smaller events will be on a case-by-case basis as the summer continues. Wow. Here we go. If you have an event that brings crowds together in close contact, like a concert, a road race, a flag racing, you should start looking at alternatives right now. This is a public health decision, and it is the right decision. When asked about Red Sox games, Walsh said it's too soon to know if the Boston team will play a home game with fans this year. So, well, we don't know, like, with the MLB right now. They haven't said anything about that lately. Or either that or I haven't paid attention to the MLB because, baseball. So let's get a clearer idea with cage side seats here. Here. In a Twitter thread this afternoon, this is from Sean Reuter of Cage Side Seats. We are planning a healthy reopening and an equal recovery process as soon as the health data tells us it's safe. So, unlike Florida, Boston and California are actually reopening their states with science. But we do not envision a point this summer where we make it seem that large crowds gathered in close contact for prolonged periods. Okay, he pretty much says the same thing. Parades and festivals will not take place this summer in Boston. So, pretty much, like, at this point, like, judging from the looks of things, that sorry, I lost my train of thought there, but Boston is not happening in SummerSlam. SummerSlam is not happening in Boston. It's a tough way to put it, but it's true. SummerSlam ain't happening in Boston, folks. I hate to say it. Now, I know some people are angered at this, some people are disappointed. There's a lot of mixed feelings going around, but as I said before, the coronavirus pandemic changes every day, and it's like we don't know what the heck we're gonna get, like, with this pandemic, like, every single day. And while here in California, like, they're starting to reopen select businesses like clothing stores, bookstores, sporting goods stores, but they haven't opened it everywhere. They haven't opened it, like, they only opened it in 3 Bay Area counties, not like the entire Bay Area. And I'm not sure what the situation is in Boston, but judging from the looks of it, it's gonna be a little longer for fans to go to, like, concerts and sporting events, even Red Sox games, Patriots games, Celtics games, like SummerSlam is clearly not happening, like, in Boston. So, I really, this really sucks, but you have to understand, like, the world we're in right now, and we don't know, like, I'm hopeful it'll end, like after, like, by that time, like, by August, like they're predicting, and not that much longer, like, not, it doesn't extend till the end of the year, but who knows, like, the world's changing every day. But definitely at SummerSlam, like, presumably, again, although it's very likely that they're gonna, like, pull it out of Beantown, and they're more likely to put it in the Performance Center again. It sucks. It really sucks. That also means that if we get to that point where they pull, there's not going to be another pay-per-view without fans. That's also likely going to mean that Extreme Rules is not going to happen with fans. It was supposed to be here in San Jose in the Bay Area, but I don't see that happening anymore either. In San Jose, it's probably gonna, if it's still happening, it's probably gonna be in the Performance Center again. And then you also have, like, again with SummerSlam, probably gonna get moved to the Performance Center, unless if they, like, do something like Grim Soy Show does and do it on the beach. Like, that would be a good change of pace. But I don't see that happening. It's probably going to be in the Performance Center again, which would be very unfortunate, especially because when you have, like, feuds that they're really trying to build up. Actually, one feud right now. with Sasha Banks versus Bailey. They were supposed to have their blow-off match at SummerSlam in Sasha Banks' hometown of Boston. That's now looking like they're gonna have it at the Performance Center, which I know it sucks. It's not gonna be in Boston, but it's like with Drew McIntyre's moment. It's like they have to face the reality here. Then they have to. By that point, if it doesn't happen, Drew McIntyre is still not gonna be able to have that championship run with the fans. Like it's a bummer. It's a bummer. Then this is the thing I was really expecting, especially with the news that came out. What was it? Back in March? The news, not the news. If SummerSlam remained in Boston, and especially with what happened in March, like mid-March, for all of us NFL fans, the cheap heat jabs, someone like Baron Corbin, someone like who's another good heel, Seth Rollins. There would have been some good jabs at Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Rob Gronkowski, to make my point here, there's gonna be a lot of lighthearted cheap jabs at the New England Patriots because Tom Brady left for the Tampa Bay Bucks, and so did Gronk for the Buccaneers. And I would have imagined the heat the fans would have gave for someone that made those kind of jabs. But in any case, it's gonna suck not seeing a live crowd if we reach that point. If we don't see a live crowd by August, then man, I understand, but it would really just be disappointing. But if it turns out true, it would suck. It would suck. All right, let's talk about Roman. Wait, the guy that's on the thumbnail with the big X and the Blues Clues guy, and the Blues Clues paw print. We gotta find the paw print. That's the first clue. Roman who? Roman who? Roman Clues. I can't come up with the song right now. I had a song in my head about Roman Reigns and Blues Clues, but yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Roman who? Roman Clues. Apparently, Vince McMahon is still mad at Roman Reigns for bailing out on him at WrestleMania, before WrestleMania. So here's some of the latest from. Here's some of the latest on the Roman Reigns situation, according to WrestlingNews.co. One of the big stories coming out of Raw this week was how Roman Reigns was erased out of the Money in the Bank cash-in video. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. So yeah, pretty much what happened, if you watched Monday Night Raw, they did a top 10 Money in the Bank, top 10 for Money in the Bank. And they showed the top 10 Money in the Bank winners or Money in the Bank moments. I can't remember. I think it was just the Money in the Bank winners. Yeah, top 10 Money in the Bank winners. And they show Seth Rollins as I think he was in the top 5, but I can't remember what position he was. And they showed him cashing in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 31. And he hit the curb stomp on Lesnar. And it faded to black. 1, 2, 3, and he won the WWE Championship. When we know that's not what happened. Even if you were a casual WWE fan, Mark, you knew that's not what happened. You know that's not what happened. Seth Rollins curb stomped Brock Lesnar, but he went after Roman too. And then when Seth Rollins tried to curb stomp Brock Lesnar again, he got caught into an F5, but Roman Reigns speared Brock Lesnar, which allowed Rollins to curb stomp Roman to pin Roman to win the WWE title. So Brock never got pinned. it was Roman. But I don't know why they did that. It was a curious thing that they did that, but they did it. So continuing on with this source, by Paul Davis of WrestlingNews.co. It was noted in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that there isn't a rule in WWE on erasing Roman Reigns from history, but the announcers have been told not to mention him. So they haven't been mentioning him for ever since Roman confirmed that he was not going to be wrestling at WrestleMania. But WWE did mention him for the FS1 special, for his best WrestleMania matches. He had that special on FS1. Dave Meltzer said he was told that Vince McMahon's reaction to how Reigns being gone changes daily based on which the way the wind is blowing. I find that BS. Because it's either Vince is happy or he's not. It's I don't buy it. So apparently Reigns was also not mentioned on the new Make-A-Wish video. I don't pay attention to that, but I noticed they are sponsoring Make-A-Wish lately. So other details include he's not being mentioned on commentary, like I mentioned, and then on the current investor call, McMahon doesn't mention Reigns. I don't know. I find this situation very odd because it's why in the first place is Vince McMahon angry at Roman for bailing on the company prior to WrestleMania 36, especially in the world we're in right now, especially with the coronavirus pandemic. Roman is in a very high risk category, and at Mr. McMahon's age, he is too. Not to put flack on Vince, but why would he be angry at Roman for making a morally great decision on his part to to put his health over his career and to put his family over his career? It's baffling to me. It's very baffling. And as I mentioned here, Roman had twins, had newborn twins that are 8 weeks old now, and Vince is still thinking that he needs to be here. I don't know how Triple H or Stephanie feel, but they're either 50-50. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speculate because I'm entering that territory that I don't like to enter, even though I fall under that territory. But all I could say is corporate and creative can't be selfish here. Vince can't be selfish here. If I understand that they have a business to run, but they're not as we've seen with the ongoing pandemic, as we've seen with them still continuing to do shows. They don't care about the health of their top performers. AEW doesn't care about their top performers either. Yes, they're checking them if they're healthy, but I still find a good claim to see that they don't care about keeping their performers safe. It's Vince. I feel like they don't really creative brass. Vince doesn't care for someone that they've pushed so hard to be John Cena's successor. John Cena's successor for the better part, they've pushed so hard to be John Cena's successor for the better part of 6 years and failed. So, in my opinion, Vince has no right to be mad about Roman Reigns. leaving him hanging, leaving him to dry, and especially has no right to leave him out of history. I don't know. Maybe it's a way to like keep him out of fans' mind, but we all like most people know that Roman Reigns is like has a family to feed, like has a family to take care of first, and his health first. But you just can't leave him out of history. Like you can't erase him out of history. You just can't do that. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. It's very disrespectful. Anyway, let's move on to our last topic here. This I found very interesting. Very interesting. Leading up to the show. I want to take a look at a couple of wrestling events, like a few wrestling events, because I saw this interesting tweet on Twitter. Because I always think to myself, is this really like how I am as a wrestling fan? Like, am I really like all the other wrestling fans in the internet wrestling community? Am I really an asshole when it comes to wrestling? And it's like, I don't want to, it's like, in all honesty, if I am, I kind of don't want to be like it. So, we're going to talk about, in this last part of the show, about the smark mentality in the IWC. Of course, you see guys like Meltzer, Alvarez, the JDs of the world, the OTRS Centrals of the world, the Smart Busters. I think Smart Busters are just like even though they're smarks, they're like really funny. But then you also have the marks. We're gonna define like what a smark and a mark are right now. So, courtesy of David Shoemaker on Grantland.com, he put out this interesting dictionary a couple of years ago, and he defines the mark as the following: a mark is a wrestling fan not clued in to the sham of the enterprise, borrowed from the carnival midway where American wrestling got its start. The mark was the dupe who fell for the guess your weight scam or the ring toss. So, pretty much how I felt as a kid playing all the carnival games. The opposite in wrestling is a smart, a person with intimate backstage knowledge of the wrestling world. I would put Ryan Satin in this category. He did get a couple reports wrong, like with the Sasha Banks and Bailey crying story back in 2019. But like people like Satin, people like WrestleVotes, I feel like even though they see like especially Satin, they are perceived to be like WWE smart like defenders, like WWE White Knights. They do get their stuff. They do get their stuff like on point, and like even though they do get their stuff on point, and they do get like interviews with WWE, like Satin especially, they get interviews with wrestlers. I don't know. They just seem to get a lot of flack from the IWC for being a cocksucker. But anyway, the opposite in wrestling is a smart, a person with intimate backstage knowledge of the wrestling world. Again, Satin, WrestleVotes, to a degree, Meltzer. The middle ground occupied by a heavy portion of modern wrestling fans is the smart mark or smark. So, like a large portion of us. Sometimes it could be me as well. I'm guilty of being one as well. Like on occasion, like I don't want to say on occasion, maybe half of the time I can't tell if I'm being a smark sometimes, but you can sometimes let me know in the comments below. It's like, and this is the category I don't want to fall in. Anyway, the middle ground occupied by a heavy portion of modern wrestling fans is the smart mark or the smark, someone who is in on the fact that wrestling isn't on the level, but who doesn't speak about wrestling from intimate knowledge or experience. Mark is used by wrestlers to refer to fans in general, and smark is often used as a term of derision for know-it-all fans by wrestlers, as in, "Goddamn internet smarks don't know shit from Shinola." So why am I talking about this? I found this interesting Twitter post by let me see. I have too many tabs here, sorry. Maybe that's why I'm dropping in frames like pretty bad here in today's live stream, because I'm trying to like figure out what to do with my 8-bit dough. Let me get this out of the frame so I can still see. Okay. I found this interesting like tweet by the one in like Anti-Smart J on Twitter like a couple days ago. He puts together like a photo, putting a timeline of what he considers the death of WWE. It's pretty much like, as he quotes, like where the big falls ratings wise started to begin. He probably forgot a couple of things, but these are the main things that's affecting or had long lasting effects on the products in some aspects, but I couldn't fit all of it. These are the basics. So some of the key moments that he brought up here were Triple H's power in 2011, the CM Punk's Pike Bomb in that same year, Daniel Bryan beating Batista in 2014, the NXT reboot in 2013, Stephanie McMahon's Women's Evolution in 2015, like in July 2015. I'm sorry, like, yeah, July 2015, pretty much, because like February 2015 was only the genesis of the Give Divas a Chance thing. Jobbers winning main titles and so forth in the indie era, and cringy Lynch. Oh man, I guess you can consider me guilty for being a smark on Becky Lynch for her man gimmick. So out of all of these, like, I know there's a lot of like moments where we get all freaking smarky over, or like the ratings like start to fall down, or the quality of the product starts to suffer. I think my cursor's not showing up, but that's fine. I think the biggest things are these two, are CM Punk's pipe bomb and Daniel Bryan beating Batista and Randy Orton at WrestleMania 30. I think the NXT reboot like kind of played a role, but at the same time, there's like a couple of good people on. There's like 7 or 8 guys that I actually like on NXT, that I actually care about on NXT, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But I want to delve deep into the two things that I mentioned here. The Punk Pipe Bomb promo was like, this was when I didn't even like see the wrestling business as for what it was. I remember in summer of 2011, I think I just finished middle school, and like that year I was like pretty much getting ready for high school. I think this happened in June, so I was pretty much like fresh off of finishing middle school, and I still had like a summer to relax and get ready for high school. And then the Punk Pipe Bomb promo happened on an episode of Raw when I was able to watch it during the summer, and CM Punk just went off like on a tangent about John Cena kissing ass to Vince McMahon. Hulk Hogan kissed, like he's a big of an ass kisser as The Rock, as Hulk Hogan and Steve Austin. He also mentioned like him not being in the main event of WrestleMania, but The Rock is. And he was just he was pretty much like exposing like a lot of the things, a lot of the backstage politics in WWE that you have to dick suck in the WWE. Yeah, you have to like for you to have your way, you have to really like demand for it. Like you really have to step up and demand for it. But even if you do, it's like, well, what are you gonna do afterwards? Like he also pointed out that McMahon plays favorites to like the big strong guys, like the jacked guys in WWE. Like while Triple H like favors the work rate, more athletic, more high flyer guys. Consider like what we're seeing right now today in WWE, the more like indie workers in WWE. So he pretty much like CM Punk exposed the business for what it was. He exposed it in a larger light than it already was in 2011. At the time, I didn't think I didn't know Punk's promo was like very significant. Like I just thought it was a storyline. Like, oh, he's leaving WWE, and he's going on a tirade on. He was going on a tirade just because. Again, I was in middle school. Like I was just a mark. I was just enjoying my time with the WWE, just watching it. But I do want to point like it definitely. I can definitely agree with Anti-Smark J that it completely opened the floodgates for the smart mark or the smarks who call out WWE. Hold on, drop in frames. Okay, we're good. But anyway, the smart mentality like happened during the Cena days. Like Cena was getting heavily pushed, but he had a one-dimensional character and all that. But it's like at least the product was still kind of entertaining. You still had Cena, you still had Triple H, you still had Orton, you still had these other guys, you still had these really compelling characters as well, like these rising stars as well, like Rey Mysterio, Kane, they're not rising stars, but they're veterans. And then you also had the other guy, like I can't get into my head, but Batista and the Undertaker, Edge was a key part of that era. Before like he did what he did, Chris Benoit was a top guy. JBL, he didn't have the best like mic work or ring work, but he did some decent he was a solid like promo guy. And who else am I coming up at the top of my head? It was an interesting time, and like there were at least some compelling stuff. Before CM Punk's pipe bomb happened, and then we get to 2014. 2014, prior to Daniel Bryan's like big WrestleMania moment, people were really clamoring for him. People were really wanting him to be the guy, like to be the face of the company. Like even though it all started back in 2013, at SummerSlam, he did win the WWE title. People were popping big for it, but Triple H like threw the curveball, and Randy Orton won the WWE title. People were pissed, and then we got the slow burn, and then it was climatic. It climaxed at the Royal Rumble in 2014 when Batista won it, and Bryan was like nowhere near the Royal Rumble. And I guess I would say that Bryan being Batista and Randy Orton empowered the smart mentality in 2014. I think it had to do more with Batista like being booked to win the Royal Rumble in that same year, or like earlier that year, that empowered it. Because had they simply booked Daniel Bryan like to win the Royal Rumble that year, and they could have like, even though it would have made the moment a little less significant, but it would have eased the smark mentality a little less as well. Not eased it a little less, a little more as well. But I guess the big problem was booking Batista to be a babyface, to win the Royal Rumble 6 days after he returned. Yeah, that was I would agree. It really woke people the fuck up. It really strengthened that WWE was catering to these people, to the hardcore WWE professional wrestling fans. At least in the short term. In the long term, not so much, because it's they didn't really book Daniel Bryan poorly, and then people were bitching and moaning about it. And then here we are today. People bitch, moan about a lot of things. I bitch and moan about a lot of things, but not to the degree of so many other people out there that are worse than myself. So if you want worse people out there, there are definitely worse people that even though they want changes in the WWE, they are just out of their mind. They are out of their mind with a lot of crazy shit. They're not being realistic. They're not being realistic with the changes they want. I do there are some things I do agree with as well here, the smaller things, I did like the NXT reboot back in 2014 and 2015, but as time went on, there are some wrestlers that I like on there, I have potential in, I do see potential in Karrion Kross, and Scarlett in NXT. I know some people I know he was kind of a familiar name for people as Killer Kross, while he was in the Indie or New Japan for a lot of the hardcore wrestling fans. But again, I'm a, I don't know. Can you really consider me a smark or a mark? I'm a, I don't know. I don't know what I am at this point. I'm a middle. I'm the below average middleman. the blark. The blark. I'm the blark. I'm the blamark. But yeah, outside of Karrion Kross, outside of Rhea Ripley, outside of I don't know. That's the, who else on NXT could we really consider as real top potential characters? It's the problem with NXT and the large majority of the main roster is there's no more character development. Outside of Karrion Kross, outside of what else can I think of? Outside of a little bit of Seth Rollins, Monday Night Messiah gimmick, outside of, let's say, there was a little bit from Rhea Ripley, back in 2019, and then outside of the ones I can really think of, I know there's more, but I just can't really think of them right now. There's no character development. There's no there's no characters. There's no no background information on why we should care about these wrestlers. It's all elite wrestling and WWE are too similar to each other. You can have all these great spot fest matches, these high work rate matches, but at the end of the day, people if you really want people to care about these matches, it's there needs to be characters. These wrestlers need to have characters in them. It's the only people that really care about these wrestlers that don't have a character is Dave Meltzer. It's like that's why he's such a mark for the Young Bucks. It's like the Young Bucks can have a great match. They had one at Revolution, but it's like they had a great match at Revolution, but that doesn't mean I'll still give a shit about them. That doesn't mean I still can't give a shit about them because it's like no gimmick. They don't have a gimmick. They don't have a character. They don't have a background. Characters like wrestlers like Becky Lynch don't have a original background as well. It's like I think the problem with these characters nowadays, it's like they either don't have one or it's ripped off from something else. Like Becky Lynch's. It's like I know I keep using the Becky Lynch example because it's always a go-to one of like it's very not creative. I know it's not a lot of it is her fault. So a good small chunk of it is, but over time, like Becky Lynch, like she got herself over with the man gimmick, but as time went on with going into WrestleMania, and especially after WrestleMania, WWE Creative made her into a rip-off of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, giving her this I don't give a shit attitude, and it's like, without the flavor. It's like, what can I get behind that? It's like, give me something juicy. Give me something that I can get behind. It's like, also, you can also make a compelling argument with Daniel Bryan as well. It's like, he was a leader of the Yes Movement. But he's also, when his character died, back in 2018, like, I don't want to say died, but it kind of waned in 2018. He revitalized himself and turned heel and became the planet's champion. But it was a little odd that he went back to being the dude doing the Yes gimmick, to a degree, but he's doing like a more technical wrestling like gimmick now. But it was a little, it's like, it's a matter of evolving your gimmick. Like, that's why Chris Jericho is one of my all-time favorites. He evolves his character. Like, when it gets very stale, it's like when Y2J is not working, he turned himself into he shed all of it and became like I can't really recall like an exact name for his gimmick from 2008 to 2010. You can't really recall the name from it, but he regardless, it's like he shed everything of Y2J and turned into a guy that wore a suit and tie and didn't give a he was cold-hearted. He became a cold-hearted mother fudger. But it's like, either way, I know I'm like getting sidetracked here. The big part of like WWE losing ratings is what's there to like get excited about. The biggest thing for that is there's no characters. There's nothing exciting about these wrestlers. There's no like background, no like interesting, like there's no like grasp. There's no like thing. There's no like exciting one like aspect for outside of, oh, they can do these amazing moves. They can do these amazing high flying moves, or these top row moves, or this like athletic moves. Sometimes I do fall under like guilt for that, but at the end of the day, it's like your moves can take you so far in wrestling. And I feel like as I start to realize it, a character, like a gimmick, can really go a long way in making in really helping like a company succeed. um AEW still has a long way to go with that, but I doubt I at this point I don't know if they're really gonna do it. They have some gimmicks, like they do have some um characters there, like Adam Page is a cowboy, like Hangman Adam Page. Like he's a cowboy, but he's got to evolve it. Like he can evolve it a little bit more. Britt Baker is now starting to like come into her own in AEW. That's why she's one of my favorite female wrestlers. She especially starting to bring her real life dentist job like as a gimmick, so that's a good thing. Who else? Who else can I think of in AEW that's doing well with their characters right now? I could say the Dark Order, but they kind of like gone into just roasting Vince McMahon lately, so I can't really say that. But they have a character, but they gotta make it work. They have to make it work. So I say that the smark mentality exists because it's like they're like seeing the cracks in not just WWE but in the professional wrestling industry in general. But if the pro wrestling industry wants to like get back on its feet, start building characters. Start building characters again. It's not just about like high rate wrestling matches. It's not about like high rate spot fests like every night. It's like if at this point everyone know, like even the casuals know, like even the marks know that wrestling is a you know what it is a had, then at this point it's like build some characters. Just build some characters. It's like otherwise the Reigns are just gonna keep tanking. They're gonna keep tanking and tanking and tanking. And say what you want, but the Wednesday Night Wars are sham. They're a sham. It's like, sorry to all of you that like are so in love with the Wednesday Night Wars. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like AEW. I like NXT, but they're only hurting each other on by being on Wednesday nights at the same time. Especially AEW. If they really wanted to hit 1 million viewers, get the hell off of Wednesday nights. It's like WWE like already like they've had that spot for like the better part of 5 or 6 years with NXT. So why the hell are you there still? It's like Smackdown already moved to Friday nights on Fox. Go to Tuesday nights on TNT. But oh wait. Then I forgot. Then again, retract that because I totally forgot about the NBA. I totally forgot about the NBA. So my bad. But again, you'd also have to consider the NBA. So retract that. Even though like I still think the NBA like the Wednesday Night Wars are a sham. It's like you still have to consider like moving to another night won't really help the either company. So yeah. So yeah, I kind of rambled on into that last segment there, but the smart mentality exists. In all honesty, because like I feel like because of CM Punk really opened the opened like the floodgates of the wrestling business. He exposed it in 2011, and then people like really woke up, like saw what he was saying, like this is not work. This is not just a promo. This is what he's saying is real. And then they started researching. They started like seeing the company for what it was. It's like even then, it's like even with these significant events, it's like nothing has changed with WWE. It's like it actually has gone worse over the years. Like no matter how many times we revolted with WWE, and as much as we changed so much with like we demanded change for WWE for so much, nothing has changed. It's like after we got what we wanted, they went back to normal. So it's baffling. Smark mentality is confusing, and all I could say is that I don't know if I'm considered one of those, and if I am, I'm sad. I'm sad if I'm considered a smark, as well. But at the end of the day, those are just like, I just want to make that little spiel, little ramble. Those are just like my thoughts on like the smark mentality in professional wrestling. Do you guys consider me a smark? Like when I talk about professional wrestling, like let me know in the comments below, because like I want to like try to like veer away from that mentality. Like I don't want I want to try to like not be like one of those guys that's WWE sucks and AEW rules kind of people. It's like I know we wanted WWE to get better, but at the end of the day, it's their decision on what they want to do. Like I know we won't like it, but we can suggest all we want on the changes they want to make, but at the end of the day, it's what they want to do. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode of DylanLasagna Live. Let me know what you guys think about the topics. Fuck, I can't speak right now. It's too hot in here, and I can't have the fan on because it's gonna corrupt the audio. But let me know about your thoughts about any of these topics in the comments below if you're watching this on demand. But anyway, everyone, I'm gonna head out of here because it's like I need to figure out how the heck I am gonna freaking get this thing working. How to get a freaking controller working on a PC so I can get ready for the speed run next week. And as for next Saturday, obviously we're gonna be doing the anniversary special for DylanLasagna Live. So fingers crossed, I can play on a controller on my computer. If not, well, I'm wrecked. I'm wrecked. Because like if a cheat like accident glitches by accident, then the run is fucked. The run is screwed. Trying to get my outro music here. But anyway, again, just a reminder, we're gonna be doing a GTA San Andreas speed run next week, next Friday. I don't have a definitive time yet, just because I'm still in the stage of practicing like speed running the game, and I'm just trying to determine like how many hours it's gonna take me to finish the game. Like, so I'm shooting for a late morning, early afternoon start time, because I imagine it's gonna take me like 4 or 5 hours, like maybe 6 the most, to finish the game, like depending on my skill to finish the game. But hopefully I could start like during that time. And then also, of course, the DylanLasagna Live anniversary special. Hopefully a lot of you, like a good chunk of people are there. Remember, Go through all of my episodes of Dylan Lasagna Live. Like, if you don't have anything to watch during quarantine, and there's no podcast for you, like, out there right now that's interested in you, consider this one. Consider this live stream podcast for you right here. The Dylan Lasagna Live podcast. And next week is the anniversary special. It's going to be 1 year of Dylan Lasagna Live, 1 year of rambling BS. But anyway, guys, thank you all for checking out today's show. My name is Dylan Lasagna. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button and not dislike spam the stream, because we've had that apparently for 3 weeks now, and that makes me very sad. But the dislike bots will disappear anyway. And yeah, we apparently got dislike spammed again, but that's okay. The dislikes should go away and after the stream has stopped. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this stream. Again, if you want to follow me on social media, my Twitter and Instagram links are in the description. And as always be delicious, and I will see you all in the next video. Stream, whatever, live stream. I'll see you all next week for the GTA San Andreas speed run, and I'm out.